Hey everybody, it's Chef Lovely, and today I'm going to be making something for all of those people who have a sweet tooth. So today we're going to make a Lattice-Top blueberry pie. Here are the ingredients. For our dough, we're going to need 6 ounces of cold unsalted butter, 6.5 ounces of bleached all-purpose flour, 3.5 ounces of cake flour, 1/4 teaspoon of table salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 4.5 ounces of cold cream cheese, 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, and 1 tablespoon of cider vinegar. For our filling, we will need 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of finely grated lemon zest, 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, a pinch of table salt, and 4 cups of fresh blueberries that are stemmed, rinsed, and dried. And for our glaze, we will need 2 tablespoons of milk and 1 tablespoon of turbinado sugar or granulated sugar, which I will be using today. Okay, so step 1 of our beautiful blueberry pie is going to be our dough. That's right, we're going to make it from scratch, and it's not that hard, so don't worry about it. Chef Lovely, I'm going to show you how to make it so that you can make this delicious pie right at home. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take our flour, and then we also have cake flour. I'm going to add that in. And we have to season this crust, so we're going to add a little bit of salt, and then we're going to add also a little bit of baking powder. So here's a Chef Lovely tip. You can take all of these dry ingredients, you can mix them together in a bowl, and you can set them in the freezer for about 15 to 30 minutes. When you're making any type of pastry dough, it's very helpful to have everything as cold as possible so that you can get a very tender crust, a very flaky crust. So we're going to blend this up just to aerate all the ingredients and mix them together. Here we go. Okay, great. Step 1, done. Now we're going to add in our cream cheese. I've cubed this into about 4 chunks. Again, this is very, very cold. So we're going to add this in, and we're going to give it a pulse. Just like that. Great. Okay. Our next step is to add in our butter. Same thing. My butter was in the freezer for about 30 minutes, tightly covered in some plastic wrap. And again, it's going to yield a very flaky and tender dough, which is what we want. So let's go ahead, put the lid back on, and we're going to pulse this until it's about the consistency and texture of a nice cornmeal, small little peas. So here we go. Now this may take a few minutes, but that's okay. We're adding a lot of butter, so we want to really take our time. The reason we pulse it is so that we're not adding as much heat to everything that's in the mixture at one time. We want to keep it cold, cold, cold. So as you see, the texture is starting to change, so we're in good shape here. That's looking really good. A few more seconds and we're ready to go. Okay. Now, for our last step, we're going to add in heavy cream, and we're also going to add in apple cider vinegar. Now, this is going to add moisture to our dough, and then we're also going to add in our apple cider vinegar as well. So now we're going to go back on with the lid. We're going to give it a few more pulses just until it comes together. Okay, so as you see, it's starting to form a ball, so we're in good shape. That's exactly what you want to see. Okay. So we're going to take our dough out. If it's still a little sticky, that's okay. I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and finish bringing this dough together. Always have a little flour on the side. When you're making a dough, you never really know what's going to happen. So as you can see, all we needed was a little bit more flour right on top of that dough. And I'm going to just work this in my hands just like this until it comes together and form a nice smooth dough. So if this happens to you, you now know how to fix the problem. Okay, a little bit more flour here. just like that. And there we go. 1, 2, 3. We have a beautiful, beautiful dough. So I'm going to separate this into 2 pieces. One is going to be for our crust. The other piece is going to be for our beautiful lattice work that we do on top of our blueberry pie. So I'm just going to pinch it right in half just like this. I have some plastic wrap ready to go. We want to cover this and let this chill in the refrigerator for about 45 minutes. Because when we go to roll out our dough, we want it to be nice and cool so we get those nice, flaky, tender dough that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and finish wrapping up the other piece of our dough, let it chill in the refrigerator, and then when we come back, we're going to make our filling, and I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful lattice top for our blueberry pie. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and roll out our dough for our beautiful blueberry pie. This is set in the refrigerator for about an hour, and then I let it sit out on the counter for about 10 to 15 minutes so that it now becomes pliable and a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to take a little bit of flour, and I'm going to lightly dust it on one piece of plastic wrap here, just to make sure that nothing sticks. Makes life much, much easier for us, just like that. And then we're going to put our dough right on top, and then we're going to add just a little bit more flour, again, just to make sure nothing sticks. And then we're going to take a second piece of plastic and put that right on top. Okay, now I have my rolling pin here. We're going to just get rolling. This is really convenient to have it in the plastic because you can literally pull the plastic, turn it, and give it a roll. So it's very, very easy. So I'm going to just give it a little quarter turn each time I'm rolling, just like this. This is going to go in a 9-inch pie pan. So we want to get, you know, a few inches, a little bit more than that, so that we can make a nice crust that's going to hang over on the side, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to show you a little trick of how you know if you've rolled it out to the proper width and length. Okay, almost done. Let's go ahead. Pop it just a little bit more there to the side. Let's turn it again. Nice. This dough is really beautiful, really easy to work with. Let's give it one more turn, then we'll see if we're there. So here's my Chef Lovely tip. Take your pie dish that you're going to use and set it right on top. If you have excess on both sides and top and bottom, you know that you've rolled it out enough. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to take off one piece of our plastic just like this. And now all we have to do is literally just go ahead and flip it right over onto our pie dish, just like that. Oh, I missed it just by a little bit. Ah, there we go. Okay, gorgeous. So now it's set. Pull off your second piece, just like that. And now you can kind of fit it in, you know, just like that. Really easy, really forgiving crust, which I love. Okay, so I have a little knife here just to kind of trim up any excess that you may have on the sides. And we're going to leave just a little bit kind of hanging over the edge for a nice pretty design. Just like this. Beautiful. There we go. So we have a nice, smooth, clean edges, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to cover this with plastic, and then we're going to pop it into our refrigerator for about 30 minutes so it gets nice and set for us. So I'm going to pop this in the refrigerator, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how we make our blueberry filling and also our lattice work from the top of this pie. Okay, so while our dough is refrigerating, getting nice and chilled for us, we're going to go ahead and make our blueberry filling. So here I have some sugar and a little pinch of salt just to balance out everything. We're also going to add some fresh lemon juice and also lemon zest. This is going to impart tons and tons of flavor. Make sure we get all of that just like so. And then we're also going to add some cornstarch. The cornstarch is a thickening agent, so it's going to create a nice juice once the blueberries pop, and release their natural juices, and it's gonna thicken up that entire situation. So it's gonna be absolutely delicious. So let's go ahead and add in our blueberries here. And then we're just gonna gently fold everything together, just like that. So the filling is actually very, very easy to do. Okay, there we go. And as soon as that zest hits everything, it just kind of hits you in your face. Beautiful aromas, beautiful blueberries. And there we go. So it's sweet, has a little bit of the lemony note, little acidity, and then the cornstarch to kind of all thicken it up and make a beautiful juice for our pie. Okay, this looks great. Step 2 is done. When we come back, we're going to put together our blueberry pie, and I'm going to show you how to make lettuce work for this delicious blueberry pie. Okay, so I'm going to show you how easy it is to create the strips for the lattice work for the top of our pie. So here's the remaining dough that we chilled earlier. So I'm going to lightly flour my work surface here, just like this. I'm also going to put some in my hands. Okay, so there we go. So now we need to roll this out. I'm going to do a little more flour on my rolling pin, just like that, to ensure that nothing sticks. So we're going to roll this out so that we can make nice long strips. And for a 9-inch pie that we're making, we need about 10 strips. So every few passes that you use the rolling pin, you want to go ahead and lift up the pastry and turn it just to make sure that nothing sticks and that we get a nice even dough. One more little roll. Fantastic. So I have a knife. If you want to be very, very precise, you can use a ruler, but it's really not necessary. Just a steady hand and a good eye will do the trick. So I'm going to kind of clean up our dough here just to make sure I have a nice clean line, just like that. And then we're going to take our knife and simply make an indentation just like this down the dough so that we make all of our strips here. So again, we need 10. So I'm going to go here, and then repeat the process all the way down, getting them as straight as possible, just like that. So I'll show you one more. There we go. So I'm going to keep on cutting, and when we come back, we're going to add our blueberry filling into our dish, and then we're going to do our lettuce work right on top. So don't go anywhere, because it's almost time to have some delicious blueberry pie. Okay, so here's our beautiful dough that we have here. So don't forget, we made our filling a little bit earlier. So we're going to go ahead and add all of this in, just like that. Making sure we get all this sugar and lemon zest and juice. Just like that. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to spread it around so it's a nice even layer, just like that. Okay, so now it's time to do our lattice work. So I'm going to take 5 pieces and just lay them across just like this. All going in one direction. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now we're going to go in the opposite direction with our remaining 5 pieces. And we're going to just lay this on top like this, where we're going to lift up a piece and go over and under, just like that. So now we're just going to do the opposite. We're going to lift this up. First, bringing these back just like this. And we're going to add on our second piece, just like that. And then we can just flip those right back over, just like that. Okay, so as you can see, this is really easy to do, and I know you can do this at home. I'm going to continue to make our beautiful lattice work, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how we make our glaze that goes on top, and then we're going to put it into the oven so we can have our delicious pie. So don't go anywhere. So as you can see, lattice work on a pie is absolutely beautiful. So we want to clean this up a little bit and make it a little bit more presentable. So I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to trim off all of the excess pieces here that are on the side that we no longer need. Just like that. I'm going to do this for each little piece. And then the next step after this is going to be using a little bit of water to moisten the little pieces of dough so that we can tuck them in to the bottom crust that we have going on with our dough. Okay, so we can get rid of that, or you can save it and make a little mini blueberry pie for yourself. Okay, just a little bit of water here, and then we're going to lift up the crust and just give it a tuck, just like that. So a little bit of water to help it adhere. Tuck it under, just like that. So as you can see, the presentation on this pie is going to be absolutely beautiful. So I'll show you how we do a few more here. There we go. Just like that. So I'm going to continue and do all the rest of the sides of my dough here with my beautiful pie. We're going to cover it and we're going to chill it in the refrigerator for 1 hour. And then after that, we're going to moisten it with a little bit of milk and sugar and then pop it into the oven. So don't go anywhere, we're almost done. Okay, so I went to the refrigerator and I pulled out our pie that's been chilling for an hour. I have a pastry brush here. I'm going to dip it into some milk and we're going to lightly kind of brush on the milk on all of our dough here. This is going to increase beautiful browning while it's in the oven, and it's also going to keep it nice and moist as it's baking as well. If you get a few drops of milk in the blueberries, it's okay. Okay, and now to sweeten it up even a little bit more, we're just going to lightly sprinkle with a little bit of sugar, so we have a nice sweet and crunchy top. Just like that. Beautiful. So I've preheated my oven already to 425 degrees. We're going to pop this in. It's going to bake for about 40 to 50 minutes. And when it comes out, good. So I'll see you as soon as this comes out of the oven. Okay, so I've pulled out our beautiful pie out of the oven. It baked for about 45 minutes. It started to get a little bit too brown, so here's a Chef Lovely tip. Tint it with a piece of foil and it will slow down that browning process, and when it comes out, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. We want to let this chill when it comes out of the oven for up to 4 hours. That's going to allow it to set and kind of continue to thicken and be nice and fulfilling and beautiful when it's out of the oven. So here's our beautiful lattice top blueberry pie.